Welcome, everyone, to our Zest Zen podcast, where we will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion for finding your peace. How are you today?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Shel. How are you
Beautiful.
today?
Yeah, I'm feeling very good, feeling very empowered and ready to jump into this beautiful transformational journey and time with you where I definitely up level and expand my mind. So I'm really excited to see what unfolds and what comes out in this beautiful session.
Sure.
So what did is our topic gratitude this week?
Yeah, no? Gratitude and
Beautiful.
its transformational power.
Yeah, perfect. So have you got anything that you would like to start with?
Uh,
First, I think
uh,
even just actually giving gratitude for this session, just
yeah,
the
of course.
beautiful energy of gratitude is really powerful. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we can have gratitude towards so many things, no? So before the, please give us a small introduction of you, Shel. We'll be very grateful for that.
I'm just assuming everyone's listened to the previous one. They'll know soon. I have, like I said in the previous one, I feel like we're not in any books. We have multiple hats, and I'm an empowerment coach, a motivational speaker, an artist, a dancer, a teacher. I have many, many, many creative hats. I just love to use my creative passion and energy and just fuel for life, just to keep thinking of ways that I can just keep empowering and showing up and transforming and just elevating and yeah, constantly up leveling myself. So if I can use my voice and my creative talents or gifts or whatever I feel like is going to be of use to people in order to make them feel good about themselves and bring more harmony and love, then that is what I will just continue to do.
Oh, wonderful.
About yourself.
Yeah, I'm Sanjivana. Many people call me Sanji. I'm a meditation teacher. We do from spiritual counseling, life coaching, spiritual wise, and then even mentoring. And it all goes all the way. Like we try to help people uh, physically as well as mentally, and it all goes up to uh, charity work and a lot of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really grateful for the life and all these things that are happening, even to meet wonderful people like you all know. So there's so much things we can be grateful of. And Shell, I think this is wonderful topic you selected. There will be lots and lots of things like we can discuss about it and actually bring so
Mm,
much gratitude, no, uh,
yeah,
out.
absolutely. Um, Yeah, just gratitude in itself is just such a powerful energy. And yeah, like even stopping to take a moment. I get like, I don't know why I'm feeling a bit of emotional right now. I'm feeling quite a few emotions. Just, just grateful for all that's been, all that's here, and all that's still to come. Um, Even in any situation, you can just stop still, and I guarantee you there will be something that you can express gratitude for.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the power of gratitude is so important, especially when you really, really, really connect to your heart and you mean it. Like it's okay as saying, you hear people say, okay, wake up and say five things you're grateful for. Okay, thank you for robotic. No. Everything is about, for me, intention. And if you really don't feel and believe in what you're doing, then don't bother doing it
Mhm.
because people feel that. If someone says, oh, you do this and this will come into your life. If you don't believe that or feel that, then it's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to really trust and believe it. And that's why sitting and reflecting on what we have right now in our life, and whether that's, not your dream house, not your dream relationship, not your dream circumstance, but actually just being grateful for what you have right now attracts more of what you want, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just having that powerful moment of just actually stopping and thinking, wow, I am actually so blessed.
Mm-hmm.
So blessed. And it's such a beautiful thing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. And in ancient wisdom, it says like I'll just say the verse. It says "Katanyu kato edi pudgolo dullabo lokasming." Yeah? So that means like actually people who are grateful are rare in this world. So it's a
Wow.
great blessing itself. So these were told by very how to say very pure beings. Yeah. And it is a fact in a way, no? So people don't understand the value they have or what they already have. It's always like seeking something further, uh, which can be done, but they don't realize what they already have. So
Mm,
sometimes we just think it's a mere word of like saying thank you, which is a part of it, but sometimes it just becomes a word itself, no? But it's more like a mindset that can even transform your life, or like even in relationships, or how to say uh, like even the whole well-being of life, right? And
mm,
embracing this like can bring so much positivity into any kind of scenario, even the workplace. Even it seems, no, that seems like a place like we think, okay, this is office and we go. But if you like or love the work you are doing, you feel gratitude even towards what it doesn't become a job even, no? So there are so
mm,
many things, uh, more than our complaints, we can be actually grateful of, no
yeah.
matter how big or small they are, right?
Mm. And just to add to that, you saying about the workplace, I remember there was this reframing, which I think is heavily linked to gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
of when we have it, we sometimes, as you can say, sometimes take it for granted. And just the reframing of, I have got to go to work, instead of saying, I get to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something really powerful in that, because actually, we don't have to do anything we don't want to. Nobody is forcing us to do anything. But you want that money or whatever your intention is for doing it, because there's always an intention.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you need to think, well, actually, if that was removed, you would soon feel so much gratitude and blessing for when you did have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why in those moments where, we're not always jumping up, hopping, skipping, doing everything. Of course, we're human, but just that reframing of, do you know what? In this moment, I get to live in this house. I get to have these friendships. I get to go to that place of work that blesses me with abundance, is such I think, a powerful reframing of what is actually in your life right now. And it's not saying that we shouldn't desire more. We should. Like, we should definitely go after what we want, and know that it's going to come and we deserve it. But yeah, just the power of gratitude and just being in the present moment and just seeing all that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I remember something like um, how to say, like when you don't have something, also you suffer in a way, right? And not not only that, when you get it, also sometimes people don't value it, no? Or sometimes they fear maybe somebody will steal it. or more than the
Mm,
gratitude or something, like they fear, no? Or they
yeah.
want to protect or do something, so they forget about the gratitude part and all that, so fear overtakes maybe, and then
Yeah.
or you lose respect or the value of it, or it becomes another normal thing for you, of anybody,
Mm,
so then later if you have it and lose it also, then again like you suffer. Oh
yeah.
my goodness, like you said exactly, no, now, like even your job or something, no, suddenly for some reason it's no more,
Yeah.
then you feel the void of it, no.
Mm. But that goes back, I think, as well of being conscious of your words and the intentions you're putting out,
Mhm.
because sometimes we don't realize it. I think everyone thinks this whole manifesting word is like all that we desire all the time. No, it's not.
Mhm.
It's just as powerful, those other intentions we're putting out of, um, oh, I hate this job. I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to leave this job. Oh, I'm going to find a new job. Boom, boom, boom. And then, not saying, but then sometimes we realize why big shifts happen in our lives,
Mhm.
because essentially we're manifesting everything we say, especially when we really connect our heart and our emotions to it. Um, it's just interesting to see what happens in our lives, and then, yeah, and not pointing the finger at someone else, and actually sometimes being conscious and taking accountability for probably why that's happened. Because I know for a fact now, when I used to blame, 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 and that one finger pointing out and the three pointing right back at me,
Mhm.
um, I actually now know that I created that. I
Mhm.
created that havoc in allowing certain things in my life, and like what I say, we don't have to put up with anything.
Mhm.
But are we taking aligned action and actually doing something about it to change that situation? So sorry, went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but going back to gratitude, it's just that actually can someone said this really powerful thing once, if you don't mind me sharing it.
Sure, sure.
For example, selling a house.
Mhm.
And they say that, when you're maybe about to start selling your house, you kind of start detaching from it. And maybe you don't see it as that loving home anymore, whether it was a loving home to start with. You start seeing it as, of something that needs to be sold, and you want something in exchange for it.
Mhm.
And particularly people that really don't like their house and they really, really want to get rid of it. And it's not saying that this always happens, but it's just
Mhm.
interesting going back and reflecting on it, that I believe energy is felt, and
Mhm.
people are going to feel that when they enter your home. They're going to feel that home that probably someone doesn't really want to sell, but they need to, maybe they've got a new family member and they need to upgrade.
Mhm.
It's interesting what the statistics would be on that type of house that someone actually had from the start, their little baby, that they feel like now they're giving away, and how maybe easily and effortlessly that maybe sells to a
Mhm.
home where people really want to get rid of it, and it's just on the market and it's not going anywhere, and this house, and I want this house, and it's just, you feel the difference in that energy, don't you? And people walking in the house and they're like almost like, buy my house, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? uh, Whereas, like, then when people are coming in, like, I remember just a small thing of in Dubai, I had this egg chair that I was just so in love with. I used to sit in it and overlooking the desert. I even used to fall asleep in it.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was moving, I had to sell it. And I remember this lady was like, oh, are you selling that? And I was like, oh, not my baby. And then I was like, yes. And then she's like, are you sure? And then she's like, oh, it's so nice. And I was like, yes, it is so nice. And I really didn't want to give away it. But she felt the love of it and she wanted it then. And she felt that love and she was like, I want it. And I was like, but it's mine. And she's like, no, but I want it. It just, and it really, it really, it was quite a sad moment for me. Like, oh, okay, bye. Giving away my egg chair. I wasn't quite prepared for it, but you know, it went to a new beautiful home. So
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, we should acknowledge or valuing these good things, no, in like what life offers or what we have, no. So I saw
yeah,
like with some nice points like being mindful of positive experiences. So be the
mm,
people, no, appreciating the people around you, well, like especially the ones who support you, and
yeah,
recognizing even personal strengths or the growth that can happen. Even
yeah,
the joy of a simple moment. Later, I'll tell you a nice story also. So, yeah, this is a real story. Yeah, yeah. So these kinds of things are very nice, and those are the things that really count. No, like small these droplets of water, they make a
mm,
handful of water, a ball full of water. No, and it
yeah,
expands, right? And it's momentary. It happens, and but it can every moment counts, and it makes a vast like your experience with the chair, no. So
yeah,
those memories and all that things, the good things, no, gather, and it becomes like a treasure.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing, and like, it even had rust on it, but for me, it was my baby. And then she was even like, but it has rust in it, trying to get some money off, and I was like, absolutely not. That is the price. And she was just like, okay, well, I want it. Like I was like, I'm not giving this away for free. Yeah, but yeah, but I'd love to know your story. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's kind of bit, there's like a small dark side also towards that, eh? So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I'm just trying to
Clarity.
uh,
Can't have the light without going through the dark.
so there was one guy, like a young man, like he used to party a lot. And then he used to go like every night, no, partying, clubbing, all this stuff, and all the he used to take different types of stuff, no, drugs and all. And then
Yeah.
he had it all, no, and so one day he met with accident, and it was very bad. And then somehow they took him to the hospital and all, and they said like immediate surgery because he had some big brain damage, no, something with the brain. So
Mm,
but it will take a few days. uh, so luckily he had a nice sister, no, very good sister. So
mm,
she came to visit him, and within that few days, like she made like it was like a, how to say, like a shrine inside his
mm,
hospital room. She made like, with the candles and incense and all this, no, and it
mm,
was just a hospital room, no, but she made it like a shrine. And so he was not talking and all, you just know. But
yeah.
uh, then the doctors had said like either uh, I will try to save him, uh, but maybe like one cause is like he can lose his life also. The other thing is
Mm,
like if he survives, uh, maybe like he will lose all his memory and all. So they had the operation, and then the sister came, no, after he could recover, and they brought him back to the hospital room. And guess
mm.
what? He said, "Hi, sister," and he talked even,
Wow.
recognized and everything. So actually,
Wow.
while he was that in that stage, like he could see, and he had seen everything. Uh, uh,
Oh.
and then like he could, and he said like this was one of my most special days. I could hear everything they were telling. I saw, but I could not talk, no. And they thought like I I was in like a stage that I was unconscious, not unconscious actually, but a very numb stage, right?
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
then he said like every day when I got the water, even the water was very precious, and I knew, no,
mm,
I heard what you all said even. And I would just see like just the window, and the pigeon would come there. And I would see like sometimes one pigeon would come there, no? But that was one of
Mm.
the most beautiful sights I could see, because I didn't know I could see again, no. Uh,
Mm.
you, and then even the water tasted so nice. And after that incident, like, whole of his life just turned around. Yeah,
Yeah,
he knew, he felt the value and appreciated every moment in life, and it made
gratitude.
him think and all these things, and he changed his life for the better. Uh, so
Yeah,
he felt so much gratitude of every moment, every droplet of water he drank, everything he saw, even the good things he heard, everything.
mm,
And he,
wow.
yeah, and he felt like how precious life it is, no? And this
Yeah,
is a true story.
that's beautiful. And that's the thing, like someone once said to me, in life we get a tickle from a feather,
Uh-huh.
then a brick might come.
Many of
And
them,
then
right?
I won't
Many of
say what she said the next thing is, but
them.
just be mindful of the tickle from the feather because you
Oh.
don't want the brick in the face. And even though that was a true story, and thank you for sharing that, it was really powerful, and I'm sure anyone listening to this will really get a incredible message from that, and we all will get whatever individual personalized message that we receive from that. That's really profound because yeah, even just having this chat now, it's like, do we really always have to go to the extreme in order to see what
Mhm,
already is so beautifully in front of us?
mhm,
You know, just yeah, like just looking around you and just being in such awe and gratitude for what's already here. Um, but again, not having to just feel like that's it, still knowing that there's much more to come. And even in every situation, which I'm really starting to notice, even from your story, and just things that have happened in my life, it's like in even every really extreme disaster, there is always, always, always a blessing. Always. And when we're going through the thick of it, and we're allowed to feel those emotions, we're allowed to feel angry, we're allowed to feel, hard done by, whatever we want to feel, but don't let them become you. Like, feel them, really feel them, and
mhm.
then take that fire and transmute it into something so beautiful. Like, I remember when I was wasting my time and I got so angry about something, and then it was like, right, I'm gonna prove this wrong. And then it's like, but why did I have to get to that point to then be fueled? And I see, say, that person or that situation now as one of my greatest teachers, because in them playing that role and bringing that emotion out of me, because I was a little bit in la la land, like, everything's perfect. To bring that real raw emotion out of me, that fueled me to be like, no, that's not the life I'm living, and I will change it now. So yeah, as we say, have a little tickle from a feather here. Look at this opportunity before the brick comes. And I definitely got a brick, a little bit of a brick in the face, not literally, but um, so yeah, just now I just really love to take, especially set my intentions in the morning and just really feel into the gratitude of the day. So I love that we're having this conversation today.
Sure, sure. And then we can focus on some aspects also of it, just to be kind of like bit technical or something, no? Uh, we can just bring up something. So in some places it's separated as spiritual gratitude, as well as like in normal circumstances, no? Big,
Yeah.
so in spiritual gratitude. uh, they talk more of the divine presence and all this, and uh, rec- to recognize like these experiences and the joy of like in the journey. uh,
Mm.
and then so like these moments can bring like for example, there are qualities like happiness and rapture uh, that can lead to peace, no? So
Yeah.
actually, when you see like when you with the practice also, uh, small first when you start even meditating, all these things like it doesn't seem like there's so much to be grateful of, no? And then what happens is like bit by bit, like things start happening. But you have to remind even people who practice with us and all these things, or come to sessions and all. First, because first part is the hardest, right? So then you have to realize and see like you have a space you can sit. While maybe
Mm.
many people are doing construction work, working in the fields, uh, they
Yeah.
cannot have a space like that. What you are so privileged of having, you can just relax and sit on a chair, or like if possible, that's a
Mm.
specific way of sitting. Huh?
Yeah.
And then people, there are war zones, no famine, maybe climatic problems in some places. And with all that happening, like with millions of people going through some hardships, here you are,
Mm.
like you just relax and you sit without minimizing the efforts and doing things. So,
Mm.
in a way, we have to remind ourselves also, and even the people who are practicing with us, we have to remind, no? But surely, like
Yeah.
within the journey of like our spirituality as well as there are so many things that are helped by gratitude. Wha-
Yeah. Yeah. That's really powerful what you said because I remember it's that typical like conditional, isn't it? Everything on our conditions. So I remember I went to see this Shiva statue once, and it was a really beautiful place, and people were meditating. And then again, there's people taking selfies. You know, they just are there for the pictures, and people were getting so angry, like, "This, be respectful of this place." And then I'm like, but actually, like what you just said, they're having their experience, you're having your experience.
Mhm,
And who are we to dictate to someone else how they should be behaving to make it better for us?
mhm,
Because actually, we're exactly the same then.
mhm,
Because in us having a judgment on them, we're actually also kind of assuming that something is wrong or that the situation isn't correct. Whereas yeah, just being at peace and still being able to be carrying out what you want, regardless of the situation, is 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 the most important. So you shouldn't have to expect that it's quiet and no one's interrupting you and this, that, and the other, because everybody is having their own experience.
mhm, mhm,
So I really like that you mentioned that.
mhm. And when talking about this, I remember like other thing. Like, this is a common thing we have heard. Like there was one guy like thinking, "Oh my goodness, like I don't have a pair of shoes." No, me I heard this, right? And he was wearing
Mm,
like some flip flops and like thinking on a bench, right? And then there was a person, like a disabled person, who came for some reason. The legs were not there, and this person was using some kind of way of traveling. Yeah?
mm.
And he was passing by, and he looked at this person who was seated on a bench and said, like, "Sir, what a beautiful day today is." Uh, and then he just
Oh
went by his
no.
way, no? And this guy was
Oh no.
thinking, like, my goodness, right? I
Mm.
am thinking about a pair of shoes, which I need surely, but I'm like upset, no? And I don't see anything else. But here is this person, uh, not about shoes, no, like, it's even more, right? And it's
Mm.
not replaceable, no? If you lose your limbs
Yeah.
and all. So then, but here he is like looking at this scenery and all and saying, it's a beautiful day. So the mind
Yeah.
also plays a huge role in like these kind of things, no? And the way we see
Mm.
it, our views, ideology also plays a huge role. Even if everything is complete and beautiful, everything, no, but we can just be caught up in some thought or thought pattern.
Yeah, but that goes back to what you said earlier. It's almost like the carrot on the stick of the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And it's like being so focused on getting that next thing that you're not even appreciating what's just entered your life. So,
Mhm.
I love how those types of things happen as well. Whether that's a story, I don't believe it is. I believe that somewhere along the line that would have something similar would have happened, and it's almost like something is sent to that person in that moment to say, "Wake up,
Wake up.
hello." No, because
Yeah.
just the actual synchronicity of the situation, like unfolding like that, and yeah, it even just visually, that's such a strong message, isn't it?
Mm.
So yeah, that the other person could just be just so present and so thankful in that moment. And even if they weren't, there's still a big message in it. Either way, that person would have got a message.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I really love that story. Thank you.
Mm. And sometimes when people come to sessions, like they talk about their children or they bring their children, no? And then we sometimes you have to say like, why don't you take these children? They say like they are not grateful or they are like so demanding. They want more, just like the adults,
Yeah,
no children. The children are the ones who become adults, right? Then there's something is like, why don't you take them to a charity? Why don't you take them to a children's hospital? Why don't you take just show them no the reality of the world, and then only
yeah,
like we if you open our eyes, like you said, or become the awakening process, then only we realize, my goodness, like okay, today there was a couple, no, and they are having arguments and all. So, but when you see they go on trips and they are actually just like miscommunications and these kind of things, no.
mm,
And when you see like the patterns and all, both of them get angry, but over like very small things. When
yeah,
this guy is tired, she brings up a big list of stuff, and then he's like, "I am tired." And then when she wants to do something, like he doesn't listen. It seems, no. So they should. It's very simple. No, we seeing from outside, we think like, and they say like, oh, they add so many other things. No, maybe he's changing. He's finding, trying to find somebody. Leave me, and more and more stuff. But I said
mm,
like, people would dream to have a life like yours, right? Yeah, go on holidays where and at least once a month, and they enjoy it, no, and all
mm,
these things, and they're just talking about the small things that and making trying to make it bloat it up and like even destroy their lives, no.
yeah, yeah,
So people don't realize like what they actually have, and people like in some more difficult situations would dream to have a situation like that, right?
yeah, definitely. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, but in those moments, then how how do those like it just makes me think though, because it's easy kind of us sitting here
Mm,
and
sure, sure.
reflecting on that and taking that time to be conscious and grateful for what we have, but it's like yeah, like what happens in those moments, I guess, does it get to the point where they ultimately have a big lesson, or yeah, because I don't know, it's
Mhm.
it's, it's like how can someone, when we can see it externally, how can that person change that perspective? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and these are people like who have stayed together for like 18 years, and it's a long time, no? And
Yeah.
I said like,
Yeah.
why don't you guys see the bright side? And then because we are not forever, no? And it's not a time like we are not teenagers or young people, no, very young people. So they are also like that. So and then uh, what are you going to do? No, like so they bring all these Western theories, other theories from different sides and different things, or they keep like
Mm.
circling back to square one.
Collecting more evidence.
Yeah, yeah. But it seems like there are no facts, nothing like that also involved. Okay, no cheating or anything like that even, like proper reasons, right?
Yeah.
And even like this guy had tried to help a relative, and then the wife is upset about that. Then I asked, like, it's your person, right? Your relative, right? Huh? And then, oh, your son, actually, yeah, to be honest, more than. But then I don't want him to do that, she says. Come on, right? Well, I said, it's your son, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I, sorry.
That's the beauty though, isn't it? Is we can we can always collect evidence, but it's what are we collecting evidence of in our life? So, if we're going to collect evidence of the lack and everything that's wrong, and then we're going to receive more of that, we're going to be granted with more evidence of it. So it's all about perspective, isn't it?
Mhm. So we'll talk about ways of countering these things and all. So I saw some nice topics also. So there's like a transformational process, no? Of like we are talking about that also, no? In spiritual
Mm.
gratitude also. Yeah?
Mm.
And then the deeper connection. So with oneself or person with the divine, or like anything, your soul, no? Name it anyway, but the deeper connection that happens through
Yeah.
understanding. In some places, like uh, this, how to say, the gratitude is not considered like a blind faith. Uh,
Mm.
so the gratitude happens actually in a way like more wisdom or experience is gained.
Oh.
Then you feel more grateful because it can turn into like a blindness also at sometimes. No,
Mm.
people can
Yeah.
feel like I should be have gratitude, or some people even
Mm.
use it like even some narcissistic behavioral patterns. You should be grateful. No, you should be
That's
grateful.
true.
It also
Yeah.
can be twisted around, also, right?
Mm. Yeah. 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 No, that's really good that you mentioned that. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing so much for you, so you should be grateful. Even for children, people say this, right?
Nation. Mm.
Uh, but through real understanding and experience and wisdom, actually, through true gratitude arises.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because if we think about the vibrational scale, like the frequencies, gratitude, love, um, grace, these types of, high vibrational feelings, when we're talking about gratitude, but then we're having guilt, shame, and regret, that isn't gratitude. Because
Mhm.
that is transitional, that's somebody manipulating us. So I see where you say about the wisdom. That's really, yeah, that really makes sense to me where the wisdom comes from. Because yeah, for someone to imply that we should have gratitude, well, no, gratitude should be something that comes from within, that we feel grateful for. And
Mhm.
that's where we go back to the thank you, or even the word sorry being overused. If we're sorry, sorry, sorry,
Mhm.
what's the intention? What's the meaning of it? And same as like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you really mean it? So that's where I feel like these lower vibrational feelings of shame and guilt come from, because you're like, thank you. And then you're like, oh, I should have done that. Or, oh, they did that, and whereas when you generally are like, wow,
Mm.
thank you, that really has helped me. That's from within. Whereas the other is like saying it just for the sake of saying it because it's something that they feel they have to say
Mhm.
because of whatever the experience was. So I really, I love the way you worded it like that because it's like I had the knowing of that, but the way you have like worded it makes complete sense. Yeah.
And I saw another thing. I am not pointing fingers or any these things that come across, right?
I'm not pointing fingers.
Like one finger, three. Oh no, I don't do that. Eh? Okay, wait. Let me tell the thing. Eh? Okay, there's a specific country. Okay, and there's a leader in that country. I don't want to name names. So you know what? When this leader comes to some place, the people to show their gratitude, they don't just clap. They don't just like say hey, like cheer things or they have to cry. They
They
have to,
have to fight.
they have to cry. They have
No.
to cry sometimes on their hands and feet.
No.
This, maybe I tell you later in private, like what's the country or something. But sometimes on their hands and feet, they
Can
have
you
to.
imagine? Like, oh God, all the guilt and shame. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
cry.
They then the thing is like they have to cry, and there are specific people watching over them. Like, do they cry? So these are like thousands of
Oh,
people gathering in a specific place, and this some leader or somebody comes. They are like, like crying and crying and crying. We are so
oh.
grateful, no, like so great. So you have to cry your eyes out. I don't know how they do it.
You're grateful because
Maybe
you
they
got to
poke their
cry.
eyes or use some onion or something or
I
something.
did it.
Oh, out of fear even, no? Because like you're done for if you don't cry, no? So
Yeah,
help but they have and there are even videos to show like how great this person is because people are crying over him like out of out of out of
that is
gratitude.
pedestal going on. That's like,
Uh, so this concept of like if you are not grateful, you will be punished. It can be applied in many places, no? Uh,
yeah,
I don't want to name things, but we should see, like okay, true gratitude is something different. Huh?
yeah,
Some
yeah,
sacrifice of somebody and all in history or anything, that is great. That's wonderful. Some specific like
yeah.
special thing they did, that is wonderful, amazing, and we can have actually honest gratitude. But if you are forced to do it, and this is like come on like at gunpoint or something, no, or say like you will be punished in your afterlife, no, or something, no, anything, uh, that's like come on, no.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? Is um if you truly, I feel if you truly believe in a higher power and something so loving and guiding and protecting you, why would that energy, that whatever you want to call it, shame you?
Mm-hmm.
Um Not quite like that, but I went to a really sacred site recently and it was a really special ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that everyone was doing it a certain way. But in my heart, and it was nothing to do with being disrespectful, but it didn't align. And in my own way, from my heart, and I really connected to it and felt it, I did my own thing. And I remember someone saying to me afterwards, oh, you do your prayer your own way, do you? And, in that moment, I could have, felt guilt, shame, whatever, and regret. But I was like, the end of the day, I gave my respects. I I know what I felt within, and just because externally it didn't look the way people expected it to look, because all those other people, and it's not saying that, but they could have made it look like it, but not felt anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important that, like, going back again to gratitude, it's an inside thing because we can make it look like we're grateful,
Mhm.
But deep down, we all know inside how we really feel.
Mhm.
And we really know if we generally, in anything we say, we think, we do, we are the ones that know really what our intention is behind it and what we truly feel about it. Um, and yeah, just in those moments, don't allow others to project onto you their feelings, maybe their fears, their shame, their programming, because at the end of the day, whether you kiss the feet of someone, you start crying, whatever it is, that's the social norm or the way it's always been programmed to be. If you come from a place of love and gratitude and you generally are respectful and kind and caring, then why does it have to look a certain way to please
Mhm.
and make other people feel more comfortable? So, yeah, but then there's the other side of it that, I wasn't brought up in a kind of a family that kind of instilled that into me. Like I was very much lucky in the sense of I had almost too much freedom
Mhm.
of my own mind. But then I actively go and seek these cultures and these religions, and I want to be open-minded to it. I want to experience the Zohar. I want to connect to the Quran. I want to see the mosques. I want to go to temples because it's important to me to feel that beautiful energy, but then I'm not going to be made to feel like I'm not welcome there or that I'm disrespectful just because externally I'm not following something that,
Mhm.
is has been instilled into people, but that maybe they don't even understand or connect to, just to look the right way. It all goes back to again to feeling and intention. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, and this can be happen in a family environment or generation wise, no? And even children
yeah,
can be programmed in such a way like they think, okay, this is normality, no, or normal, but
yeah,
which is not because we are free individuals. No, we should be at least in some aspect, no. The,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I think, yeah, of course it's all important to show the way. Um, and the younger generation do want to model on their mums and their dads and want to know how to do it right. But also, I don't think there should be shaming or guilt or, from for a little one maybe not quite doing, I don't know, the action the correct way, like they're learning, and yeah, because again, I don't know why this came up, but I was somewhere really sacred yesterday as well, and I just was sat in the energy of it and just enjoying the moment, and yeah, I saw some parents really scolding children because they weren't carrying out the whatever it was I was watching in the right way, and the child was doing it, but you could just see the anxiety and the worry, and I just think actually that's not an act of love and kindness. Then that's I think we should just think back to what's the intention behind it,
Mhm.
uh, and just allow especially the younger generation to have that time to find their own way and just watch and connect and see what feels right for them. And I think they would be much more open-minded and
Mhm.
feel the energy and respect of what's actually happening in that moment.
Mhm. And
So yeah,
Shell, I have seen like even some in some poor families, the children remember these things very well. And maybe the father was doing some hard labor work or something. But the children, like they were appreciating every moment of it. And they sometimes say, my
mm,
father never raised his voice to his mother. or they never argue, or they we could not see, like, or they would discuss, no. And he tried his
Mm.
very best to support us. And then they become like adults, or they find good jobs and all these things, and they are proud of their parents,
Yeah.
and they take
Yeah.
so good care of this people because they actually feel grateful or
Yeah.
gratitude, and they want to like look after them, take care of them, because they know like they give like 100 or 200% for them. And the kindness,
Yeah.
all that, they could be like super poor or anything. It's not that, right? Some
Mm.
rich people can treat their children, like you said, like even worse, no, like trash. But it
Yeah.
comes
It
around,
doesn't
so
matter about your
children don't feel
finances.
connected,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
There's nothing for them to feel
Yeah.
grateful of, no?
But this is the other thing that I realized as well is what we forget from a child's perspective is a child doesn't often know any different until they grow up and start comparing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they live in a mansion or a shanty house, if they're receiving love, they don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's why it's got nothing to do, some of the people that have, the most incredible money are using it for the greatest good. And so even that, whether you're brought up in an incredible home and a not incredible home, it doesn't matter, because in each walk of life there's people, that will still experience the same regardless of the polarity that they're living in. um so yeah, so I really love that you said that. It all just goes back to love, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That that love, and that's really important.
Mm-hmm. And I saw another nice thing, like, if we can transcend like suffering and hardships, meaning like, the even the pain, no, that goes through. So gratitude actually helps to like change the struggles we are doing to lessons in life. Huh?
Mm.
And like
Yeah,
pain and hardship, we usually take it as such, no? But
yeah.
actually, gratitude, what it does, it turns it around. uh, and
Mm.
it's not like we are embracing the pain or anything like that. And oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah,
suffering, but what can I do? I really like it, not like that, no?
yeah,
But it actually like switches things around, and what happens is like we try to see this maybe like, or the strength of it starts reducing because you see
yeah,
something more within that, no? And
yeah,
and we our mind frame starts changing, and we try to see it as like life lessons, maybe. Huh?
yeah. Yeah, I love that you said that, because there was a course I did recently, and it
Mhm,
was basically saying, just to like paraphrase it, but saying like, okay, say I've got this magic wand and I say to you, okay, um, everything you want, I'm gonna grant it to you. Like the house, the relationship, everything is gonna be yours, okay? No more hardship anymore, no more struggling, no more challenge. Would you like it? And the person's like, wow, yes, wow, yeah.
mhm,
I'm like, okay, done. And they're like, oh, well, okay, well, I would like just a little bit more. Here, done. Okay, well, okay, I would like this. Done, 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 done. But what happens is the person doesn't appreciate it. They are bored. They don't have challenge. They don't have
mhm,
growth. They don't have expansion. They don't feel like they've earned it. So yeah, not saying that everybody has to maybe experience poverty or
mhm,
something, drastic in their life, but ultimately we're all on our own challenges and our own level. Even though a millionaire still has a challenge, still has growth, still has expansion, because if we just have, boom, here, 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 here,
mhm,
there's still something within us that doesn't feel worthy of it, doesn't feel like we've earned it. So that's why I think, yeah, it's really important that we do have that like resistance a little bit still. Not saying that we have to fight for everything and
Mm,
everything is a struggle and why does this never happen to me? No, we're not saying that, but there's something so beautiful and transformational about even like the analogy of a mountain, of when you're on that journey and you're getting those blisters and you're hungry and you're like, why did I do this? Why did I wake up so early? Some people or other people, like probably me, being like loving it anyway. But when you get to that top and you look out at that view and you rest that you did it and you're like, wow, wow, I got to the top of here. I did it. There's something so much more um rewarding about that
mhm,
than someone saying, which is still another lovely experience of, okay, we'll fly you there, or we're going to drive you to the door, go inside, come back out, let's go back home.
mhm,
Yeah, you enjoy it, but I don't think you enjoy it as much as maybe the more the resistance of creating it and making it happen. So yeah, I'm not saying that everything has to be like,
beautiful.
ooh, but there is this like this gratitude and
Mhm,
fulfillment in achieving it yourself.
mhm,
Not yourself, but you know what I mean. Not saying it has to always be by yourself, but making it happen, whatever way,
mhm,
collaboration, whatever way possible.
mhm. And it takes to another side, like it can enhance like inner peace and even contentment, right?
Yeah,
Through
yeah,
gratitude, like more we see it, no, and uh, when you start appreciating and all these things, uh, the inner peace side starts growing, no, more
yeah,
than like the because otherwise it's a endless game, and some places it's mentioned as a mirage. So even ancient scriptures and all these say, like it's like a little deer trying to find water in the desert. Uh,
oh,
so the desert in the little just example, and then the little deer sees like far far like water, and it runs there. It seems but it's just a mirage, and then it sees
yeah,
further, and it exhausts itself, not even uh,
yeah,
to the worst.
yeah,
So likewise, we seek something else, no? Maybe tomorrow, day after. It's not like having goals or hopes or no. It's not that. Uh, but sometimes we have, but we need something more. Maybe the
mm,
latest mobile, no? People just change it so rapidly. Even the vehicles people have, the suits, the designs, no? Designer wear, all these things like there are people who don't even have anything, right? Uh, Yet, like, there's so much in abundance here, but still, like, they
yeah,
want the latest, no, or they queue up or wait till the latest edition comes up, right? But you wonder, like, okay, you already have, like, this is like not a small price, no? This is big numbers, right? Uh, but still, like, there's always something more, something more, something more, right? But
yeah,
so it says like this: the little deer starters maybe like uh, it's just an example, but maybe digging around, maybe it can find water even. Huh? Than just running after the mirage, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because these things
That
never
that goes
stop.
back to that. Yeah. I think that goes back to that. Like sometimes you just have to let go and trust.
Hmm. Even the like
Um,
the harmful desires, right? Can have desires, but there are some where like it takes us overboard, no, and to some extremes, and
mm,
like it doesn't end, no. That's why people fall into trouble, also, right?
yeah.
Uh, and then they talk about even awakening or like deep awakenings, no? even enlightenment. So more you are content, more you are awake, like we said, and more like you trust or like have actually gratitude to your
Mm.
life. Huh? So there was one person who asked like, if it's so momentary, what's the value of it? Because it's momentary, right? You never
Mm.
meet the moment again, no? So why not live it to the fullest? Huh?
Yeah,
So then every moment counts of life, even, no? So why not take it to
yeah,
the highest place as possible, no? And live the way you want, but you can take it to a place like where you can have more and more happiness, more and more peace, even
yeah,
unshakable, no? Like more solid states, no?
yeah, definitely.
So we can just talk about like the ways we can cultivate gratitude.
Hmm.
What are the ideas you have, like share?
Um, for me, like a really powerful way of doing it is I find when I really close my eyes and I really connect to my heart,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I get this really like sometimes it can be quite an emotional feeling, but it's just this like almost burst in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like especially when I kind of put out a prayer or an intention and then I see evidence of it enter my life and it could just be so subtle and like to someone else it'd be like you know a really trivial thing,
Mm-hmm.
but to me it's a really like big sign, and it's just like almost like an explosion in my heart. So like I think yeah, just taking that time to actually stop, pause, and just really just connect to your heart and just really express what you really, really, really are grateful for in your life. I find
Mm-hmm.
that's so, so powerful, especially when you're thinking about you know, not such great situations happening in the world. I always like to feel like I'm then like radiating out some love
Mm-hmm.
and joy and like peace to others. I think it's really strong when you connect to your heart.
Mm-hmm. And we can cultivate even gratitude, right, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
uh, and some people actually have to do it because they have turned to the opposite direction. So even a smile, no, they say like go to the mirror and make yourself smile, no, in the morning.
Mm.
They say this.
Yeah.
So sometimes affirmations, prayers, even meditations, these kind of things also can help a lot, right?
Yeah. And just thinking about affirmations, at a time when I first learned about affirmations, and I think, um, you know, like we do have to think about people that are just kind of not new on the journey, but like, you know, this is all very new to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes, like, some people might call it your monkey mind or your negative mind or your critical mind. You know, it's quite intense at the start when you're reprogramming it or bringing in, you know, a new way of doing something that your mind is like, what are you doing now? And it's very critical. So something that I found really powerful when I was because when I was first using affirmations, my mind was so strong and so like, no, you're not, no, you're not. And it was so loud. Um I found this thing called lofty questions, which is where, because our mind is a natural problem solver. So if you give it a problem, not a problem, but you know what I mean, something
Mm-hmm.
to solve,
Uh-huh.
ultimately it wants to find evidence. So instead of saying, I am powerful or something like that, you say, why am I so powerful? And now
Mm-hmm.
your mind can't be like, no, you're not, because it's like uh oh, she didn't say I am. Damn it. So it has to be like, well, I guess you do this and you do this and you do this, and your mind will naturally start finding evidence. So
Mhm.
I found that really powerful because it couldn't fight back and have that resistance. Like say you're wanting to bring in prosperity into your life and you're like, I am rich. No, you're not, honey. And then it's like, why am I so rich? Uh, well, I guess you have somewhere to live, and I guess you can buy your own food, and I can, and it has to think of ways to answer your question, which I find is really like a powerful reframing in going around that naturally critical, not always very kind mind. Um, so I just felt like that maybe that was something important to share.
Sure, sure. So please, can you please elaborate on that? Like, if a person wants to know how they can practice, like you mentioned, what should they do?
So for me personally, what I did, I've actually on my YouTube channel got lots of affirmations and lofty questions that I've made. Even though, of course, like from a business perspective, be like, go onto my YouTube channel and listen to them, get my like count up. I will be honest with everybody. It needs to be in your own voice
Mhm.
because this is our mind. And if you've got a male that's saying like, I am powerful, I am rich, your mind is like, yeah, he is. It doesn't relate to it at all. Whereas actually, and I'll be completely honest with you, this was probably a year and a half. This was like really consistent,
Mhm.
like reprogramming my mind, because I will tell you something. This place, when you're going back to that conversation of like they're in these beautiful locations, but there's just chaos and havoc and they're not happy. It didn't matter where I went. This mind was following me everywhere. It was like, oh, this is beautiful. Now it's not. Oh, look at this lovely person. She's not. Like it was, it was so horrible. It was such a horrible place. And I've completely, not completely, because we're all still on a journey, but I've reprogrammed it. And
Mhm.
now I think this is why I can see such beauty, because I learned to change that in my mind, this very horrible critical mind that I had, which still creeps in sometimes. So I would definitely suggest, if you're able to, and it doesn't have to be like high tech, just on your phone, think of some powerful affirmations or turn them into lofty questions. I also like to use frequency music that links to that affirmation. So if it's love, use a frequency that you can find on YouTube that links to love. Um, and just again connect to your heart, really feel it. Maybe take 3 breaths so that you're just nice and calm, and just feel those words, because there's a big difference again between like, I am powerful,
Mhm.
or I am powerful. That get that energy, feel that energy. And if you're able to then put it on your laptop and like play it when at night, I find really powerful,
Mhm.
because at night you're resting and your mind isn't so critical, then it's just taking in your environment. And that really, really, really was incredible. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be loud, it can be so low, because think of it like a nosy neighbor, like when you're in your house and then you hear like, when you're like, you might be in bed or something, and they're like, who's that? Did you hear that?
Mhm.
That is how sharp our mind is. So even if you have it so low, like really playing, your mind is constantly, it's like the watch person of your being. And it's like, what was that? Who's that? What's happening now? So you have something playing and saying like, why am I so powerful? Why do I attract such incredible relationships in my life? Huh? It's listening. So yeah, I found that was really, really incredible.
Uh-huh. And please tell about those questions you mentioned before.
So literally you just take anything. So, say for example, I attract lots of money into my life. I am wealthy. You just reframe it. So instead of I attract lots of money into my life, and it being like, no, you don't. I didn't see any money come into your life. You say, why? Why do I attract so much money into my life?
Uh-huh.
Um, well, I guess you received this the other day. It has to think of reasons.
Mhm.
And it will do. That's like, and obviously you might not hear them. It's just something that your brain naturally will do.
Mhm.
So like, just think about, say someone's in danger or something. Most people that really love and care are not going to be like, oh, leave that person. They're going to think like, oh, well, shall I go in? We naturally start thinking of ways to help people. So if you apply that principle of like, um the love and the help we give to others to yourself, and take yourself separate from it, and use a lofty question, your brain is like, oh yes, 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 I want to help you, I want to help you. So it's really yeah, and I learned that via Mind Valley, so credits to Mind Valley for that.
Mhm.
um and it completely changed my life.
Well, thank you so much. It's beautiful you shared this. And yeah, yeah, yeah. And even in ancient wisdom, there are things called like four Brahma Viharas. Like these have been there for like thousands or millions of years. So one is like loving kindness. The other one is compassion. The third one, there are four. They are called divine adobes. It's very interesting. And one is loving kindness. One is like compassion. The third one is called sympathetic joy. Sympathetic joy.
Wow.
It's actually the opposite of jealousy, envy, and all these kind of things. Uh, so actually, what we do is like it's very nice. You take yourself as the meditation object, and then what you do is like you take some quality you have, uh, or some anything. It
Mm,
could be material wise also, like you mentioned, or any quality or talent or skill or anything, and just think of that. Reflect on it,
yeah.
what you already have. Huh?
Mm,
And then just think like,
yeah.
may I be not taken away from this good quality or skill or any wealth or anything, uh, what you see as a value of yours. Or and then what happens? The opposite process happens, like you mentioned. uh,
Mm,
what the mind
yeah.
starts acting. Then we are asked to like take another person who's doing very well in some aspect. You can select anything and then focus on this person, and then wish like may this person not be taken away from this good quality or skill or talent.
Mm,
uh, and then the mind also starts uplifting very powerfully. So you start with yourself,
yeah.
but the main thing is like you learn to like train with yourself. And the
Mm,
meditation gets a boost when you can really reflect it on another person also, and then start
yeah.
practicing. So we are actually genuinely happy. So that means we are happy about what we have, right? Or what we can achieve or what we can get, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I heard that right, but it sounds like something someone told me once as well, where for example, say you're wanting, I don't know, to find a lover, yeah?
Mhm.
And they say, instead of being like focusing on that and feeling lack or something like that regarding it, they say that, say you have single friends or something like that, to focus on like thinking, wow, how nice would it be if, they met this incredible person, and to start actually really wanting it for someone else. And ultimately, you're connecting to that frequency. Whereas when it's for us, there's this resistance of like, oh, but I'll meet that same type of person again. And you have that. Whereas when you can do it externally, which I think is what you were saying, so that's what I'm just clarifying,
Mhm.
um because you are so like not related to it, you think you actually attract it. because you're in that energy and that emotion for someone else, and you get so excited for someone else that you ultimately attract it to you. It's that typical wing woman and wingman thing of like your friend in a bar and saying like, oh, I'll go in there, see if he likes you, and then sometimes they end up liking you because you are so detached from it and you have all that energy and that excitement and being like so free willed, like hi. They naturally feel that love and that like excitement from you when you're doing it for your friend. Whereas if you were going to do it for yourself, you wouldn't approach that person you fancy in that way. You'd be like, no. So it's just, yeah, I think, is that correct?
Yeah,
Similar or not?
in a way, like
Yeah.
uh, um, like we focus on ourselves and then on another person, and we actually are
Yeah,
wishing the
yeah.
well-being of that other person, right?
Amazing.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
no, genuinely, we are wishing the uh,
Yeah,
well-being
that's what
of
I
that.
mean. Like generally from your heart, that they say, don't they? You want love. Like first of all, you should give it to yourself, but also you should wish it on others. So when you see that love in relationship, you shouldn't be like, you should just be like, wow, actually, there's love all around me. Look, these two beautiful people have found love, so I can find love. Instead of being like, oh, well, it's all right for her. She's met someone nice. And then you wonder why then you're giving off this like energy of like jealousy and not
that
very nice.
that is jealousy, no? That is jealousy. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like in deep meditations, there you have to check these things also and see. We don't even have to focus on another person. We just have to think like, I don't have. That's it. You can see
Oh,
like the
okay.
negative patterns. Like you don't even have to mention another person even. Eh? If you just think like, I
Okay.
don't have. My goodness, like you should see the negative patterns in the mind that starts occurring. Really. And you are asked to check like that. Also, you use deep concentration and mindfulness, and you are asked to check, and they teach you step by step how to do these things. But you don't even have to
Wow.
think like of another person. You just have to think, I don't have. My goodness, like so even that, so it becomes bigger when you would bring another person in, because all that
Mm.
negative energy becomes multiplied, right? There's a person, their
Mm.
life, and all what they have, and all this. I mean, a negative or a jealous or in an envious way, right? But just to
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like, oh, I don't have, that also hurts, no? And
Mm.
that brings so many negative. And what you say is so true. Like, when jealousy and these kinds of things, it pushes things away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that typical runner and chaser thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're ultimately wanting it so badly that you're almost like running after it, and they're like you're chasing it and they're just like, I'm running away.
Uh-huh.
Whereas they say then when you find love, often so many people are attracted to you because you're radiating this love, and you're not like, is he single, has he got a ring, you're not having this like energy, like, whereas he's just like thinking like, what, like, I don't know what it is, like, she's beautiful, but there's just, oh, I don't know, there's something about it. Whereas when you're just in your heart and you're like, wow, and you're connected, people are just like feel that love, and they're just like, oh, I don't know what it is, but I just love being around this person.
Mm-hmm.
um so I think that's why it's really powerful self-love, to really pour into yourself and be the lover, be, the provider that you want. And before you start making this long list of he needs to be like this, or whoever, your preference is like, actually, are you giving yourself that?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not even giving yourself that, you're not even living up to this list, then how on earth is someone else supposed to be living up to this, this high expectation and standard? And it will go back to, then you might attract it, but then you won't feel worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure, sure, sure.
yeah.
And uh, like you mentioned before, acts of kindness and service, no? That's a
Yeah,
big thing. Like we can bring so much gratitude of what we have or what we are doing. Uh, Not to like condemn those people who we are helping or anything, but we see and it's an eye opener also, right? When you start
yeah,
serving and helping people and all these things, that's a big plus, and that can sometimes make your whole day or even months or weeks or months, right? Or years or as memories. Can be so grateful for things, no, like I didn't just waste it away.
mm,
Oh, I did some so such nice things.
yeah, yeah.
So maybe we wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
Would you do the honors?
Well, I guess, as this theme's been gratitude, just first of all, just I'm really grateful for another really transformational conversation, and I love that I never know what's going to come up, or and I just trust that even when people maybe listen to this at a later date, that I just set the intention that they will find an answer or something that's really going to be transformational, meaningful to them. And I feel like there's many topics we ended up speaking about, which is an absolute blessing again. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for our connection and just combining our two, not worlds, but our two lives. And there's actually a lot of really big synchronicities and alignments anyway. So it goes back to that message of remember, it doesn't matter how always it looks. It's far beyond that. It's far beyond that always. So yeah, I'm just really grateful for this really beautiful time, and just having this high vibrational conversation. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Shel. And I also feel so grateful, like to connect and then share and listen of other people's experience and all these things, and give something wholesome. We can together like give something wholesome, and it stays on the internet also, right? So, and another time and some point, no, like it can come around and help somebody. With all that gratitude for everybody who's watching this also, thank you for
Yeah,
having us, and it was a great pleasure to
yeah.
do all these wonderful things.
And just to remind you all, whether you've read the notes or not, this is an open space. This isn't just us two having a conversation. You are always, if you're watching this at a later date and you feel like you want to get involved and express something that you feel so passionately about, or ask a question, whether we'll be able to answer it or not, this is a safe space for you to use your voice and to feel empowered and just have that beautiful community and connection. So, yeah, feel free to join us whenever you want to. We would love to have you.
Okay, then have a wonderful and a beautiful day. And there's so much things we can be grateful of, which can these are like gemstones, no, that nourish and uplift and make our lives even more beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then see you
Thank
soon.
you, everybody. Take care. Bye.